Welcome viewers in the series of videos on the course topology. We are dealing with connected spaces. So as I said in the last video, we are talking about the continuous image of a connected set. Right. So let us first state that. Let us state that the theorem. Let f from x to y be continuous map. So we have a function f from x to y which is continuous. If x is connected in the domain, suppose if x is connected, then fx is connected. Remember, we are not saying that y is connected. We said the image of this connected space, your domain, is connected. That is, the range of that function is connected. And of course, this function, if this function f is onto function, then of course this y will be connected because fx will be equals to y in that case. So we know that x is connected. We have to show that fx is connected. Okay, and as I said in the previous proof, that showing something is connected, it's somewhat trickier than showing something is not connected. To show that it is not connected, you have to just give a separation. But if you need to show that something is connected, you need to show that there does not exist any separation. That is the difference between these two. Alright. So as I said, to show that something is connected, we will assume to the contrary that this fx is not connected. Remember, in proving any theorem, we need to see what is our hypothesis and what should be proven. What is our conclusion? Now, in this case, our hypothesis is f is connected and our hypothesis is f is continuous map and x is connected from connected space. Okay, so let us assume that fx is not connected. So suppose fx is not connected. So something is not connected, some space is not connected, means there exists a separation, right? So let us take a separation for fx. So let u comma v be separation for fx. Let us take a separation which is u comma v in fx for fx. Now remember, this is a separation for fx and we have to deal with subspace topology for y. So fx with the subset of y. And since this is a separation for fx, this means u and v are open in fx. So some set is open in a subspace provided there exists some open set in the whole space such that u is equals to that open set intersection with fx. Okay, so let us first draw the diagram to understand the scenario. We have say x here. This is x. These different colors. This is y. In y, suppose we have this function f. Let's use different colors to understand this. We have a function f which is from x to y. We know that x is connected. We need to show that fx is connected. So let us assume that fx, let me use a simple one. Fx is somewhere here. Okay, so let us assume that this is fx. It may be equals to whole of y, right? But let us assume that it's somewhere inside y. Now we assume that u and v is a separation for fx. So let us take a separation for that. Let us say that the separation for u and v is something like this. This is u and this is v. This is the separation for fx. That's what we assume. Okay, let's move ahead and as we process, we will change the diagram somehow. So since this u and v is a separation for fx, that means this u and v is open in fx. So this implies u and v are open in fx, of course, as subspace topology. Now since u and v is open in fx, this implies there exist two open sets in the space y, in the whole space y. So there exist, let us take open sets, say G and H in Y, because this is a subset of Y, this is a subspace of Y in Y, such that we can write this U as, say, G intersection the subspace, that is fx, and we can write V as this H intersection with the subspace fx. This is by the definition of open set in a subspace. Okay, so let's go back here. We have two open sets. Yes, we have two open sets, G and H, such that this U is nothing but, it will be something like this. This is this entire thing, including this border also. This will be G, because U is nothing but G intersection fx, and let us use something else instead. Which color will fit? And this is H, because we have written V equals to H intersection fx. So when you take the intersection with fx, this is the part which is a common. Okay, now how we are using the hypothesis? To use a hypothesis, we have this f is continuous function. Now what we have is f is continuous function, G and H are open in Y, that means the inverse image of open set should be open in X. So let us take that inverse image this side. So inverse image of H will be something like this here. Just assume this is inverse image of H, and inverse image of G also we need to take. So let us take this G and take the inverse image. This will be inverse image of G. Okay, now remember, we have assumed that fx is not connected. That means we need to get some contradiction. And if you see in this diagram, we have got two open sets in X, f inverse of G and f inverse of H. If we somehow manage to show that this forms the separation for X, that will be contradiction to our hypothesis, that is X is connected. So now our aim is to show that this is the separation for X. Okay, so let us write the claim now. Claim. To prove any theorem, you should have outline what you are going to prove, right? So claim f inverse of G and f inverse of H is separation for X. If you prove our claim, that means that will be the contradiction to the fact that X is connected, and hence our hypothesis is wrong, is false, and hence fx will be connected space. Okay, now to show that this is separation, there are 3-4 points which we have to prove. First point, both f inverse of G and f inverse of H should be non-empty. Okay, so let us take first point. Let me use something else. First point, let us show that f inverse of G and f inverse of H are non-empty. Okay, I will show f inverse of G is non-empty. Similarly, one can proceed and show that f inverse of H is non-empty on the same grounds. Alright. Now since we have G intersection Fx is equals to U, that's what we assume. U is nothing but G intersection Fx, and we know that this U is non-empty set because U comma V is a separation coefficient. That means both are non-empty. This implies this is non-empty. U is non-empty means this intersection is non-empty. So let us take a point. So this implies there exists some Y belonging to the intersection G intersection Fx. Because this is non-empty, we have some point in this. So since this Y belongs to this intersection, this implies this Y will be in G and this Y will belong to the image of X. Now since this Y is in the image of X, this implies there is some point in X which is mapped to Y. So this implies there exists say some X belonging to X such that that point X is mapped to Y. And we know that this Y belongs to G. So this belongs to G. So this implies this Fx belongs to G. This implies Fx belongs to G. Let us go on the next page. This implies X belongs to inverse image of G. Right? Hence, F inverse of G is non-empty because we found one point in the inverse image of G. Of course, this X will be in X. Right? If you see, this X is in X in the domain. So what we proved is there is some X in X such that F inverse of G is non-empty. So there is a point here. Similarly, this F inverse of H will be non-empty. You can just proceed the same way and you can say that F inverse of H is also non-empty. Similarly, F inverse of H is non-empty. So first point is done. The second point, we need to show that both are open. Right? F inverse of G and F inverse of H are open. So for that, as we have said, since this G and H are open in Y, and we know that F is continuous function or continuous map, inverse image of an open set will be open in the domain. This implies F inverse of G and F inverse of H both are open in the domain X. So 2 points are done. Third, we need to show that their intersection is empty. We need to show that F inverse of G intersection F inverse of H is empty, right? And then union will be whole of X. So let's go for the third point. 3. Let us show that the intersection is empty. Okay. If not, say let us take a point X belonging to F inverse of G intersection inverse image of H. Take a point in the intersection. So if you take a point in intersection, we will get some contradiction, and that contradiction says there does not exist any point in the intersection and hence the intersection is empty. So since this X belongs to the intersection, this implies this X will be inside F inverse image of G, and intersection means and this X will be inverse image of H. So X is in the inverse image of G as well as X is in the inverse image of H. So if X belongs to inverse image of G, this implies that point is mapped to some point in G. So Fx belongs to G, and similarly we know that this Fx belongs to H. Of course, this Fx also, this point X is in X, implies Fx belongs to Fx. Right? It's a ring set. So this says Fx is in G fx is in fx, this implies this fx will be in G intersection f capital X. Also this is in H, this is in fx, and this fx will be in H intersection fx. And if you know, or if you remember, we have said that G intersection fx is u and H intersection fx is v. This implies this fx belongs to u and fx belongs to v. So fx belongs to u, fx belongs to v implies fx belongs to u intersection v, and of course if you have a point in u intersection v, this implies u intersection v is non-empty, giving contradiction. Why this is contradiction? Contradiction. Why this contradiction? Find it out. Okay, so this contradiction means this our hypothesis is wrong, and therefore or hence inverse image of G intersection inverse image of H is empty. Okay, you find it out why this is contradiction. It's a very simple thing, and this is how you learn mathematics. It is not just right by taking the notes and writing the notes, reading the books. You have to figure out your own concepts there. Alright, so let us take the fourth point. The fourth point says if you take the union of f inverse of u and f inverse of G and H, it will be whole of x, right? So of course let us take a point in x. So let some point x belongs to x. We need to show that this x belongs to the union, right? Now if x belongs to x, this implies the point fx will be mapped to some point in the range, right? And fx, we know that fx is nothing but u union v, because u and v is the separation for fx, and since it's a separation, its union has to be equals to whole of the space, that is fx. This implies this fx belongs to u, or because this union, this fx belongs to v. And also we know that u, what is u? U is nothing but G intersection fx. So of course u is a subset of G and v is a subset of H. Also from the diagram you can come out, u is a subset of G and v is a subset of H. So one, that fx is in u, it implies that fx will be in G, and also or it will be in H. Okay, this implies this fx will be belongs to G, or this fx will belongs to H, because u and v are the subsets of G and H respectively. So if fx belongs to G, of course that point x will be inside the inverse image of G, or that point x will be inside inverse image of H. This implies this x will belong to either this set f inverse of G, or this will belong to f inverse of H. So it is in the union. What we have done? We have taken a point in x and we proved that that point x is in the union. This implies x is a subset of f inverse of G union f inverse of H. And trivially we know that f inverse of G union f inverse of H will be subset of x, right? Because f is a function from x to y, we have taken a subsets of y, so inverse image will be the subsets of x, right? So from these 2 points we say that this implies f inverse of G union f inverse of h is equals to pole of x. Let's see what we have done. We have proved this 4 points. First, we showed that both are non-empty. Second, we showed that both are open. Third, we showed that intersection is empty. And fourth, we showed that the union is pole of x. Hence, the claim. So we have proved the claim. This is contradiction. This is contradiction. Why this is contradiction? This is contradiction because x is connected. Because in our hypothesis, x was connected. We assume that fx is not connected and we got this contradiction. And hence our space fx is connected. Okay, let us take one more theorem here. We have proved that any interval, if you take in R with usual topology, then it is connected, right? But in fact, we can go one more step further and say that it is if and only if statement. Okay, so we already proved that the any interval is connected. Now we will take a connected subset of Ru and we will prove that it is an interval, right? So if A is a subset of R with usual topology is connected, that is A is connected, then A is an interval. And of course, you should know what is the definition of interval. So let me not tell or explain what is the interval. So that is the kept as exercise. You find or you check what is the definition of interval. And once you have the definition of interval, you can go and check whether why it is connected. I mean, you assume that it's connected and show that it's an interval. Okay, so let me assume that you know what is interval, and to show that it is interval, let us take 2 points in A. So let x and y belongs to A. Assume that x is less than y, and take any point z in R such that this x is less than z and less than y. We have to show that this z belongs to A because A is an interval. Okay, we need to show that this z belongs to E. Suppose not. That is, assume that suppose z does not belong to A. Okay, but we have here the situation something like this. We have this R. In R we have x, we have y, x is less than y, and in between x and y we have z. And to be an interval, if you take any point in these 2 points, it should be in A, right? So we assume that z is not in A, and if you assume that z is not in A, then you will get a separation for A. And remember, the separation for A will be in terms of subspace. And to get that separation, we will take an open set. We will take open set from -infinity towards z intersection A. So this part, and z to infinity intersection A, whatever A we had, to get this part. Okay, so claim minus infinity to z intersection A. So this is open in A because this is open in whole of R. Intersection with the subspace will be open in subspace. And second set we will take z to infinity, which is open in R. To take the intersection with A, this is open in A. And of course both are non-empty. We need to show that these are non-empty, both are open. I just said you give a point in both, so this shows that both are non-empty. Your intersection should be empty and union has to be equal to whole of E. If you manage to show that this 4 points, then this is the separation for E, and that will be contradiction to the fact that A is connected set, and hence this supposition is wrong, and hence this set belongs to A, and this A is a interval. Okay, so let me put this as an exercise, show that this is a separation for A, and then this implies Z belongs to A, and we are done. Okay, as a simple application of this if and only if statement, what we have proved is A is connected if and only if it is an interval. Because in the previous videos, if you have not gone through it, please go through it. We already proved that every interval, any interval in R with usual topology is connected. Now we have proved that if we have a connected set in RU, that is the interval. So in short, we have proved the if and only if statement. Alright, as application, let us take a simple example. If you take any subset of rational numbers, which is of course subset of U, is A is connected when what are the subsets of rational numbers which are connected? Remember, we already just now proved that the subsets of R which are connected are the intervals. So A has to be interval, and of course again remember that A is a subset of Q, set of rational numbers. So what can you say about E? And also if you take a subset of irrational number, if A is a subset of R difference Q, that is irrational numbers, is connected, then what you can say about E? Then E, what you can say about E? Okay, so with this let's stop. We have proved that first here A is connected, then it is an interval, and again we have proved that the continuous image of a connected set is connected. In the next video, we will prove that if A is connected subset of X, and suppose U and V is a separation for X, then either A will be in U or A will be in V. Okay, I repeat, if A is connected, suppose you have a whole space X, we don't know whether X is connected or not, but you have a subset of X which is connected, and suppose this X has a separation. We need to show that this A will be either in U or it will be either in V. If X is has a separation, then A will be the connected subset will be either in the U or it will be in the V. So this we will prove in the next video, and also we will prove that every line segment in Rn with usual topology on that connected one is connected. And also if you take convex subsets, it will be connected. Okay, so stay tuned and let's meet in the next video.